What's up, goblins, and welcome back to another Dream Ships episode in Cosmoteer. Yes, if you want to participate in this format, literally everyone can participate here. Please join my Discord server. You will find further information there. I have a link to my Discord server in the description down below. Okay, so let's start with the first ship. You can already see the first blueprint I got sent here in the background, and this blueprint comes from Jan, and he wrote me, "Hello Gobbo. This is my Iron Beam ship I am using in Korea with the mods More Crew. I want this ship to be efficient as possible. Cost doesn't matter, crew doesn't matter. You know what that means, right? You're gonna get a true mega ship, and I want this ship to be fast though. It's doing close to 60 right now, but I want to have a max speed of 75 plus if that's possible. Of course that's possible. It's not good against swarms, so there is a need for more armor in the back. Crew is a mess, and it is in need of a good crew management as well. I'm a big fan of overclocked shields, as you can see. Last thing I want to mention is that I'm a big fan of symmetry. Yes, I try to keep it symmetric for you. So let's have a look on the blueprint you sent me here. All right. So this overclocked iron ship here has a whole lot of problems, and I will have to explain a lot here. So if you're not interested too much into this explanation, I also have some timestamps for you in the timeline down below here on YouTube. Just check that out if you want to skip this part here. So, first problem. Where do I even start with the problems? So the first problem is your iron beams. Exactly. Or to be precisely, your iron beam prism management. Because as you can see here, we have 1, 2, 3 iron beam prisms conducting into one single iron beam prism over here. Now this is always a no-go if you build iron beam prism ships, because let's have a look on the statistics of the iron beam prism. You can see here down below, if you combine a beam, that means you always lose damage output. And if you combine 3 beams, you already lose around 50% of your complete damage. That is insane. So 50% of your complete damage is like this whole section over here. Like this complete section is around 50% of your damage here. And you lose all of this damage just because you conduct this one iron beam prism inside here. So that's the first thing I had to fix. I had to find a way to rearrange this array here. Then, so many problems. The second thing, of course, as you already told me, is crew management. So even if we activate all of these iron beam prisms here, we can just look on this. So now what we will see very shortly, once our iron beam prisms run out of energy, they have only an uptime of around maybe 40%. So they are highly inefficient. So I had to also re-manage all of your reactors. I also had to re-manage all of your crew, because this is just way too few delivery here. As you can see, we are running out of power here frequently in several lasers at once, and of course that's not good. So this is the second thing I had to fix. The third thing I had to fix, I know you are a big fan of overclocked shields, but this is a big problem in your ship actually, because if we now have a look on your ship, so we have to deep dive into Cosmoteer here a little bit now. So if we have a look on your ship, you already have a heat generation of 130,000 megajoule per second, but only 74,000 megajoule per second of heat dissipation. So if you already, only your beams alone already, if they have 100% upkeep, they will already start to break your heat dissipation, because they output more heat than you can actually dissipate. The only reason your ship is not on fire is because your iron beam lasers are not efficient enough for it. So that's of course a big problem here. I had to deal with this. Then the next big problem around your heat is your shields. Yes, you are a fan of big shields, and they have truly a lot of HP, your shields. But the problem with this is that shields generate heat when they get damaged. And this heat is not calculated into, this damage heat is not calculated into your heat generation yet. So this is heat that comes even on top to your already existing 137,000 megajoule per second. And you shouldn't take this lightly. This is a lot. If a large shield generator, overclocked, gets hit by a ray gun or a nuke or something like this, and you lose all of this 90,000 shield damage at once, shield strength at once, you will have a big heat outburst from this one single shield generator, because every single damage point does 0.6 megajoule already in heat for you. And this is an enormous problem, especially with all of these shields here. You have all of these overclocked shields together. So if you have multiple shields failing at once in your ship, you will most probably see your whole section up here completely on fire, because your radiators are not able to deal with this, especially when they still have to deal with all of these overclocked reactors and all of these overclocked laser beams here, of course. And so what I did, I reduced the amount of overclocked shields drastically. I don't have a single large overclocked shield anymore in my ship design. And I think it's also now time to finally come over to my ship. Okay, meet my multi-layered fortress. I hope you like the paint design. I have to admit, I was a little bit tired when I designed this. So it's a little bit chaotic, but I kind of like it. I hope you like it too. Okay, so I did... As you can see, I did, as I said, rearrange your ion beam prism a bit. And what you can already see is that I now have 2 individual beams per side here. So not all of these prisms are then conducting everything into one other prism, but they are rather shooting independently. And this looks like, so wait, let's start this here. So now we have 4 big beams here, and the upside of this is that with 4 beams you have a lot less energy loss, power loss. Because as I already told you, if you conduct beams together into one single prism, they always lose power. So this, of course, is a problem you have to deal with. So one problem you have here in the ship, and you can already see this, that's what I wanted to demonstrate. Now our ship is on fire. Okay, so why is that so? But this is on purpose, don't worry, this is not a construction issue. Okay, so let's repair this. The reason why this ship is on fire now is I have a lot less heat dissipation than heat generation. You can see I reduced the heat generation drastically because I don't have so many overclocked shields anymore, and most of my cores are also not overclocked. And so we come out at 80,000 heat generation, but we only dissipate around 40,000 heat. So the reason why that is, I also implemented some TC missiles here. Yes, TC missiles are great to dissipate heat. They are even more effective in the same horizontal area to dissipate heat than radiators. Okay, why is that so? So to explain this, we have to, of course, have a look on our weight here, on our TC missile. So every TC missile, here we can see this down below here, thermal canister missile, can store up to 7,500 megajoule of heat. And every TC missile launcher can shoot every 2 seconds, which means you have, with one launcher, you already have a heat dissipation, a theoretical heat dissipation of 3,750 megajoule, right? I hope you can follow me here. And that means that over this horizontal area, our TC missile launchers, even with these gaps here in between, are more effective than our radiators, because every radiator can only dissipate 1,100 megajoule per second. So for the same area, like if we take 2 radiators together, they can only combined radiate 2,200 megajoule, while one single missile launcher can radiate 3,750 megajoule. And that's why TC missile launchers are great for both, of course, transferring this heat into a little bit more of damage, and also to radiate heat. Now the problem, of course, is, as I already showed you, if your thermal canister missiles are not firing at all, then you will quickly overload your ion beam emitters here. So always make sure that your TC missile launchers are operational if you want to overclock your beams here. So to make this a little bit easier, in case some part here breaks or something like this, you can just press 3. I made a group for all of your ion beam emitters, and you can simply turn off the overclock mode. By the way, the beams themselves, also non-overclocked, are very powerful. Like, this is already a lot of damage. Okay, let's turn this on for now. And yeah, just always make sure that you activate your, or deactivate your overclocked mode when your TC missiles are not firing, because maybe you don't have ammunition, maybe they got hit by something. Yeah, but as you can see, I've also made some more shields down here. I also, because you seem to be a little bit worried about smaller ships coming from behind, I also inserted a heavy laser blaster here and 2 disruptors for some side protection and some back protection. And then, of course, a bunch of here defensive systems like shields and some point defense systems, yes. And the biggest change, of course, as I already told you, I have barely any shields left. So you can see this here. I just have some small shields left here to protect your frontal iron beam prisms. And that's basically it. Everything else, our whole defense comes from our layered armor. And I just had to substitute all of these shields because you can definitely tell if I would now stack up shields over here, then I would lose a lot of this armor space here. And that would be a pretty weak point for all of your shields against enemy fire. Okay, so I'd say that's enough of talking. We should finally go over to our first test fight. Let's go. Alright, for our single target test with our multi-layered fortress, I chose another Iron Beam Prism monster here. The Orion, a very well balanced Iron Beam Prism ship from the Cable faction. And I'd say we just go in and melt this thing to the ground. So the Orion will also do a lot of damage to us, I believe. And it's really just a damage race. Let's see who's able to firstly demolish each other's armor here. There you can definitely see he's burning through our tiles here. I do have some armor weaving here, so I really hope that this will be enough to drain the enemies. Yes, yes. Okay, we basically, yep, devoured him with this beam. So yeah, you can definitely see him. Especially if you have overclocked railguns or other iron beam ships, you have to be a little bit careful to maybe sometimes turn in your armor, but we have a big chunk of armor here lost for sure. But yeah, it still was enough to take down this Orion. I'd say this is a big victory. One thing we should mention here, of course, is that the Orion is a little bit cheaper than our chip. So like 2 million credits or so, but who cares? Let's go. Next fight is, of course, the multi-test. And I highly doubt that we are able to win this, but let's see, because this ship is clearly just made to focus on enemies up front. As I already told you, I have some weapons on the backside, but once we are getting surrounded, there is little we can actually do, especially against larger ships. So let's go. And for our multi-class fight, I decided to place our multi-layered fortress against 3 larger enemies of around 1 million credits from different factions, and then 2 very small able ships here with around, I don't know, 60,000 value or something like this. Yeah, just to be a little bit annoying here. And there's one thing, maybe we have one chance to win this, and that's if we are able to immediately take out one of these bigger enemies. Then we might be able to tank some shots from the other enemies and then turn our armor around so that they are not able to surround us too much and do too much damage to us. But let's see, that's my goal here. We will for now completely ignore these small ships here. Yes, you go for this core, exactly. Aye. No, he has overclocked flags. Oh, that's a problem. But actually the Revenant is flying. Oh, yes, we were definitely able to completely annihilate him. So yeah, as long as the enemy stays kind of in front of us or even sideways to us, we are definitely able to tank some shots with our layered armor here. That's a good thing. Please, yes, annihilate this one and then this one fast, because he's shooting nukes at me. Okay, where are the small ships? Did we unintentionally? No, they haven't moved at all. That's great. They are stuck. It seems they're stuck. Or if I got to give them AI. Oh yes, but this was actually better than I expected, because the enemy was not surrounding us too much. And we are completely stuck here. Okay, let's see. Do you have AI? No, I forgot it. Ay. Oh yeah, look at this. Oh, this was, yeah. Here, he completely annihilated our side armor with these nukes. Crazy. Alright, let's annihilate this one here as well. Now look at this beam. Look at this beam. Meow. And that was only one single beam. And we have 4 of these. Okay, actually, this was a little bit chaotic, but this was so much fun that I think I will show you this. Okay, so this was a big success for the multi-layered fortress in terms of testing capabilities. What am I talking here? I don't know. We did lose some thruster over here, it seems. Yes, from some nukes. But all in all, against 3 ships, wasn't too bad, right? Okay, I think that's it from the multi-layered fortress. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. And of course, now we will come over to the second ship for today. Let's go. The second ship for today comes from Nicht Photokiller, and this was also a improvement mission. So, you wrote me, this is my first big ship I ever built. I kinda like it, and I think I made the inside fine, but it is not as good as I hope. I would love if you make it better. I tried to make it a brawler. What I planned for this ship was to have 4 strong beams in short term, and then transitioning this into 4 weaker beams, which are consistent. Okay. So let's have a look on your blueprint you sent me. You can already see we have big thermal lens inside here. And let's go, let's have a look on this. Okay, so big thermal lenses with 1300 dilation and 4970% amplification. So enormous power potential. And the first thing I asked myself was, why do you build these beams so powerful, invest all of these resources, and then plan to make this not work like 100% uptime? And of course, I fixed this for you. Okay, so this was my first thought. The second thought, or the second problem that we have here, is the front. So the front is highly vulnerable. You can already see we have barely any armor here. We just have some overclocked large shield generators, but they are actually easier to take down than you might think. So one single nuke can already take down your large shield generator. Same goes for disruptors. They are very, very effective against large shield generators. And so I had to add a lot of armor there to make this work. So let's have a look on the ship that I built for you. Yes. The Screaming Wraith. Okay, wait, let me... Yeah, the Screaming Wraith. With this paint job. I hope you like this paint job here. And let's have a look on the interior. So with a current value of 5.3 million, this thing is a total beast. Also in terms of power output here from your thermal lenses. So I have 1316% dilation and 4950% amplification. So almost as much as you had on your other ship, almost the same, but with one big difference. They have an uptime of around 95%. This is ridiculous. This thing melts everything in seconds. It doesn't matter how much armor the enemy has or what shields he might mount on his ship. It just doesn't matter. You will see this in the battle test. This thing is a 1v1 beast. It just annihilates everything. And yes, that's the good thing about this here. So the second thing I made is I made your heat grids independent. So I have 2 independent heat grids here. One on the left side, one on the right side. Yeah, let's go into this here. So why did I make that? That's because I wanted to reduce your generated heat. You can already see we have generated heat of 112,000 megajoule per second. So even more than the first ship we have, way more than the first ship we have. I did also use the same trick like before. I have a lot of radiators here, of course, to radiate some of this heat. But we also have thermal canister missiles. Now, to shoot at 100% power with all of your thermal lenses. Of course, you also have to make sure that your thermal canister missiles are operating all the time. The big difference between the overclocked lasers and this thermal resonance lens is that we have this here, a fire safety mode. And this is very good. I turned this on for all thermal lenses because this means that you cannot accidentally burn your thermal resonance lenses, even if, for example, your missiles run out of fuel or something like this. Okay, so I'd say we go into our first battle test and see what this beast can do. This thing is a 1v1 brawling monster, trust me. Let's go. Alright, for our single target test, I decided to place the Screaming Wraith against the multi-layered fortress. What? Yes, because the problem was I was trying to fight against multiple single target enemies from the in-game library, and they had no chance. They didn't even scratch my Screaming Wraith compared to what the Screaming Wraith did to them. And so I decided to place a bigger ship against the Screaming Wraith that can hopefully kind of match its strength here. And so yeah, now we have this big epic fight between two really end boss monsters here. So the Screaming Wraith with around 5.3 million value against the multi-layered fortress with 5.4 million value. And to be very honest, I think that our Screaming Wraith will 100% win this game. Because the damage output of these heat lenses is just, it's just unmatched. It's so crazy. Look at this now. Here, let's go. This is also the first time I'm trying this. I have no idea how this goes. Let's see. By the way, the Screaming Wraith is also pretty fast, around 80 meters per second. Yeah, we can definitely see that the screen... Oh yes, this is way more damage than all these in-game ships that do my Screaming Wraith. That's great. Look at how fast he's burning through this here. I mean, the multi-layered fortress does a lot of damage, but the problem of the multi-layered fortress is it just cannot keep up with the damage output of the heat lenses. Look at this! Everything's on fire! And now he basically lost... Hey, what is the AI doing? Ah, the AI is turning in all the shields and probably also the laser blasters, right? That's why it's turning the ship. But it actually doesn't matter anymore. I mean, I already lost my whole core here with the multi-layered fortress. But the multi-layered fortress did a lot of damage here. So most ships from the in-game library came maybe until this point here. Somewhere over here. So the multi-layered fortress already did a lot more damage than most of the in-game ships. Yeah, look at this. This is just... It's just insane. I mean, look at this thing here with 4,950% amplification, 1,300% dilation. It's just annihilating everything. Okay, I'd say this was a big success with the Screaming Wraith with this ship in one-on-one fights. You don't have any problems against any enemy unless they are fast enough to outrun you with, for example, overclocked ray guns or something like this. Then you will have a problem. But everything other than that, you have, I think, the best brawler you can get here. Okay, let's go over to the multi-fight. Oh, this thing is just ridiculous. Let's go. For the multi-fight, I decided to place our Screaming Wraith against 5 enemies, just like with the multi-layered fortress, but in this case our enemies are a little bit more expensive. So we have one flagship here, the Rocco's Revenge, with 1.5 million value, then 2 more ships from the IO faction with around 1 million value, and then the Sky Piercers lastly, some ray gun ships here with 400,000 value. This time I also turned on AI for every ship, yes. And I'm pretty not sure how this will go, because we have a ridiculous, really ridiculous amount of front armor, as you can see here. So we are enormously good protected from up front, but we are actually pretty weak from the side. So I do have some shield generators here to protect our radiators and everything. But let's see how this goes. So if we are getting surrounded, we will probably meet our end soon. So let's see. This thing is just a enormous damage beast. Yes, burn through it. Ay. Everything's burning here. That's crazy. Okay, as long as they stay up front here, it'll be fine for us. Burn through it. Burn it. Yeah, I also want to burn this ship here now. Let's go. Yeah, one problem that we have, you can already see this here, is that large chunks of our radiators already exploded, and that's the reason why our safety mode here kicks on with our with our heat beam. So this is actually a big weak point here from our side. But yeah, that's the problem with these thermal resonance lances. You need a lot of radiators and a lot of thermal canister missiles to radiate all this heat, and that just means you have to somehow expose some parts of your ship to enemy fire. Okay, let's go for this one. Ooh, okay, we lost one complete section here. That's not good. We also have some front-facing here radiators, which means we do have at least some energy dissipation here left. But of course, this is not enough to deal with anything here that's left here. Especially the sky piercers do hurt from the side. Aye. So yeah, I'd say this leads to nowhere. This is a crazy defeat. We were able to take out the 2 ships though, so this is not too bad. But always keep in mind that your Screaming Wraith really is just to fight enemies from up front. And if you use this one in your campaign, you probably need some support ships that can help you to not get flanked here, because it is really vulnerable against getting flanked from the side. Once you lose all your radiators, you probably lose all of your damage because your thermal resonance lances will then turn on their fire safety mode. Okay, that's it from my Dream Ships episode. Don't forget to join my Discord server if you want to participate in upcoming episodes. And I'll see you next time.